The photograph stared back at Aisha, a faded ghost of a life she barely remembered. A young girl, all bright eyes and boundless hope, stood clutching a wilting sunflower, her skin the color of rich earth against a backdrop of endless cornfields. It was taken the summer before everything changed, before the whispers started, before the averted gazes became palpable walls. Aisha's hand trembled as she ran a finger across the brittle surface. Leaving Havenwood had been an act of survival, a desperate flight from a town that had slowly choked the very air from her lungs. Now, 20 years later, a letter had arrived, summoning her back. Her grandmother, Nana Elodie, the only anchor Aisha had ever known, was fading. The Greyhound bus rattled down the long, dusty road leading back to Havenwood, each mile a hammer blow against Aisha's fragile composure. The landscape hadn't changed. The endless cornfields, the weathered barns, the lazy swirl of the creek snaking through the valley. It was a postcard of rural America, picturesque, idyllic, and utterly deceptive. Beneath the surface lay a darkness, a simmering resentment that had poisoned Havenwood for generations. Stepping off the bus, Aisha felt the familiar weight of judgment settle upon her shoulders. Eyes followed her, cold and assessing, as she walked the familiar path toward Nana Elodie's small ramshackle house on the edge of town. The air hung heavy with the scent of honeysuckle and something else, something acrid and bitter that Aisha couldn't quite place. Nana Elodie was a shadow of her former self, her vibrant spirit dimmed by illness. But her eyes, those wise, knowing eyes, still held the same warmth Aisha remembered. "You came back, maybe girl," she whispered, her voice raspy. "I knew you would." Aisha knelt beside the bed, taking her grandmother's frail hand in her own. "I wouldn't miss this for anything, Nana." The days that followed were a blur of memories and unspoken anxieties. Aisha nursed Nana Elodie, reading to her from her favorite books, singing the old spirituals that had filled her childhood. But the town of Havenwood was a constant, oppressive presence. Whispers followed her, doors slammed shut as she approached, and the memory of that photograph of the innocent girl she once was became a painful reminder of all that had been lost. One afternoon, while visiting the local market for groceries, Aisha found herself face to face with Ethan, the boy who had once been her best friend. He was a man now, his face etched with the lines of hard work and regret, his eyes flickered with a mixture of surprise and shame. "Aisha," he said, his voice hesitant, I didn't know you were back." "I'm here for my Nana," she replied, her voice cool and distant. Ethan looked down, shuffling his feet. Things were different back then," he mumbled. "We were just kids." "Kids who learned hate very quickly," Aisha retorted, her voice laced with bitterness. Ethan flinched. He opened his mouth to speak, but then closed it, his shoulders slumping in defeat. The unspoken words hung between them, a testament to the chasm that had grown between them. As Nana Lodi's health deteriorated, Aisha found herself increasingly isolated. The weight of Havenwood's prejudice threatened to crush her. One evening, after a particularly hurtful encounter with a group of young men who hurled racial slurs at her, Aisha broke down. She found herself sobbing uncontrollably in Nana Lodi's arms. "Don't let them break you, Aisha," Nana Lodi whispered, her voice weak but firm. "Don't let them steal your light." "But it hurts, Nana," Aisha cried. "It hurts so much." "I know, baby girl," Nana Lodi said, stroking Aisha's hair, "but pain is a part of life. It's how you rise above it that matters. You are strong, Aisha. You are a daughter of the earth, rooted in resilience and blessed with a spirit that cannot be broken." Nana Elodie told Aisha stories of her ancestors, of the hardships they had endured and the triumphs they had achieved. She spoke of their unwavering faith, their unyielding determination, and their deep, abiding love for their community. "You come from a long line of warriors, Aisha," Nana Elodie said. "Never forget that." Inspired by her grandmother's words, Aisha began to see Havenwood in a new light. She started to notice the small acts of kindness that had always been there, hidden beneath the surface of prejudice. The elderly woman who offered her a warm smile, the young boy who carry her groceries, the farmer who gave her a basket of fresh vegetables. She also began to connect with other Black residents of Havenwood, people who had endured the same hardships she had. She learned of their struggles, their dreams, and their unwavering commitment to their community. She discovered a hidden reservoir of strength and resilience, a testament to the enduring spirit of her people. One day, Aisha decided to visit the old schoolhouse, the very place where her childhood innocence had been shattered. Standing in the empty classroom, she closed her eyes and remembered the day the taunt started, the day she realized she was different, the day the light in her eyes began to dim. But then she opened her eyes and saw something else. She saw the faces of her ancestors, their eyes filled with pride and encouragement. She saw the faces of her new friends, their smiles filled with hope and solidarity. And she saw the face of Nana Elodie, her eyes filled with love and unwavering belief. Aisha realized that Havenwood didn't define her. She defined Havenwood. She was not a victim of its prejudice, but a beacon of hope for its future. She was a daughter of the earth, rooted in resilience and blessed with a spirit that could not be broken. When Nana Elodie finally passed, Aisha felt a deep sense of sorrow, but also a profound sense of peace. She had honored her grandmother's memory, she had found her own strength, and she had discovered a new purpose in life. Aisha decided to stay in Avonwood. She knew it wouldn't be easy, but she was determined to make a difference. She started a community garden, a place where people of all races could come together and share their stories. She organized workshops on racial reconciliation, creating safe spaces for dialogue and understanding. And she became a mentor to young Black children, helping them to navigate the challenges of growing up in a racially divided community. Slowly but surely, Havenwood began to change. The walls of prejudice began to crumble, and the seeds of hope began to sprout. Aisha's courage, her compassion, and her unwavering belief in the power of love had inspired others to embrace change. Years later, Aisha stood in the town square, watching a group of children of all races playing together. The sun shone brightly, illuminating their faces with joy and laughter. Aisha smiled, her heart filled with gratitude. She had come back to Havenwood to say goodbye to her grandmother, but she had found something else. A home, a community, and a purpose. She had overcome the adversity of her past, and she had created a future filled with hope and possibility. The photograph, once a painful reminder of what she had lost, now served as a testament to all that she had gained. The little girl with the wilting sunflower had grown into a woman of strength, resilience, and unwavering love. And Havenwood, the town that had once tried to break her, had finally learned to embrace her.